Hello friends, welcome back. Last session we have seen the difference between single tasking and multitasking, and then we realized that the latest machines have ample resources, a lot of memory so that it can accommodate more than one process on the main memory, and hence we do consider from multitasking system onwards. Now the issue here is on the main memory multiple processes are residing, and since there is only one CPU, then any one of these processes can be active and all others must be inactive or some other way. So to define what each one is doing, we need a term called a state, process state. So process state represents the current status of any given process, what the process is doing, and if it is waiting, then what for it is waiting and all that. Now a process can be in many states. It can be a new state. So whenever a process is created, it gets into something called a new state, and when the process is waiting for the CPU to be assigned, then it is called ready state. And if the processor is assigned to the given process, or if the process is currently being executed on the CPU, then we call that process is in the state of running. Or if the process may be waiting for some slow process, some event that takes quite long time, maybe like waiting for some IO activity or waiting for some resources which takes quite long time, then instead of wasting CPU's time, we can keep this particular process into a deep sleep. So that's what we call a waiting state. And once the work of the process is completed, then it will be going into a terminated state. So it may be completed, that means it ends its execution normally, or something may go wrong, and because of that, instead of creating a chaos in the whole system, we can just kill that process so that the remaining things are intact, so it may be terminated abnormally and so on. So these are the definitions. So a process can be in any of these states, and let us see what exactly happens when a new process is created. That's where the whole thing begins. A new process is created, that means when we press any what I can say, the mouse button is pressed when it is on some icon, then that program which was there on the secondary memory comes over to the main memory, and that becomes a process. So when it becomes a process, it is admitted into our working system, and it gets into a queue where many processes are waiting for their turn to use the CPU to run their code. So it gets into the ready queue, and the scheduler, we have something who takes care of how the processes should keep running. So the scheduler will allow a process to run. That means a CPU is allotted to a process, then when a CPU is allotted to a process, that process is changed its state from ready to running, and the process starts running. The CPU runs that process. So there may be some reason, that means a process may be given some specific time to run, and if that time is done, then it gets interrupted by the scheduler and says that your turn is over, now somebody else has to use the CPU, so please stop your work. So it gets interrupted, and if it gets interrupted and not yet completed its job, then it comes back onto the ready queue and waits for its next turn. So this continues. So process is in the ready state, and if it is the next in the queue, then when the CPU is next available, it is shifted to the running state and starts running, and once its time span is over, then it's interrupted, it gets back to the end of the queue and waits for its next turn. And the next process which is in the ahead in the queue, ready queue, will now get the chance to run. So that's one cycle keeps repeating. Or a process may be running and it wants to read a data maybe from keyboard. Now what is the problem in reading the data from keyboard? So first problem is the keyboard is operated by human, and human's response time is very slow because mechanical activity has to be taken. So a human may take a few milliseconds to few seconds to work with a keyboard. A key has to be pressed. It is waiting for some key to be pressed, and that information is put on the screen, say that press yes or no. If you want to continue, press Y. If you don't want to continue, press N. Some message is displayed on the screen. The user has to read it, understand it, then decide to press yes or no. If yes, then search for Y. If no, then search for N and then press it. And it's not necessary that the user is active all the time looking at the screen. The user may be busy some other activity and may not be looking at the screen. So in all that, what happens is the time to press yes or no, Y or N, takes some seconds, and the process is running at a nanosecond speed, and if it is taking in terms of seconds, then so many billions of activities we could have done in that, and the processor is wasting all its billions of time stamps just for one key to be pressed, and definitely it is just waste of resources, waste of CPU time and all that. So to ensure that whenever some slow process is initiated, whenever waiting for some slow activity, then instead of waiting for that to happen, we can just transfer the state of the process from running to waiting and say that you please be in the waiting state and wait for the key to be pressed. So it may take some milliseconds, okay, then in milliseconds it will be waiting. It may take few seconds, then for a few seconds it will be waiting, and once that key is pressed, then it is now ready to run again. Till then, don't get back to the ready state, otherwise after a few nanoseconds it will get chance to run again, and it says that I did not get the input, so I have to wait. So instead of allotting that process any CPU, just stop that process to claim for any CPU, get that into waiting state, and it will be in the waiting state till that IO or the event has completed. Once that IO event is completed, then it comes back to the ready queue and waits for its turn. So this keeps on going on. So if it is ready to run, then it goes to running state. Then if times out, comes back to ready state, then gets chance, run back, ready, and so on. This keeps on. If a specific time slot is allotted for each process, each one should get some equal amount of time for CPU usage. Or if a process is waiting indefinitely for some very slow activity to take place, then better switch to the waiting state and keep it in the waiting state till that event happens. Once that event occurs, then back to the ready state. And while running, if we come across a situation where the process comes to an end, then it exits and the process gets terminated. Or maybe something goes wrong while running the program, while running the process, something may go wrong. So instead of disturbing whole the environment, whole ecosystem, it is better to kill one process that is creating a problem, so we can forcibly exit and terminate that particular process. So that's what process states are, and this state diagram talks about the story from the time a process is created till the process gets terminated. All these different events occur. At different events, the process will be in the different states, and that's what we are talking of. Then how does how do we understand the details? So this whole details about the process are stored under the process control block. There is one block for every process called process control block, where the state of that process is stored, the identity of the process is stored, and the program counter, that means which line currently it is being executed at current state, when that is stored. The contents of the registers are stored, the memory limits and other list of files that are open and all are stored. So that all the meta details about process are stored in the process control block. How does this help in our operating system or process control? Let's check that. Say process, we have two processes and one CPU. So currently process P0 is executing, and then it gets some interrupt or some system call, then it has to exit. So it gets out. So before going out, it saves its environment onto the PCB, and then the second process, that is P1, is allotted the CPU. So before process 1 starts working, we should know, has process 1 executed earlier? If so, then what was the condition when it had stopped working? So we reload all the environment from the process control block of process 1 and then start executing. And when this gets another interrupt, then it cannot continue, because it may be waiting for some IO activity to happen, or it may be getting scheduled. So sometime process not P0 runs, then sometime process P1 runs, like that. Then once P1's turn is over, then all the environment of process 1 are saved into the PCB1, and then we reload the state from PCB 0, and process P0 continues its execution. So in this, what happens is, when process P0 stopped working, at that time, what was the situation? The situation is in what state the process was, what is its number, how many at what line it was working, what are the contents of all the registers, and all these details are stored in the process control board. so it saves onto the process control board. And then when P0 has to restart working, instead of beginning from the beginning, instead of starting from the beginning, it wants to continue wherever it had stopped. So what, wherever it has stopped, who knows that? The process control block knows about the latest information about that process when it was stopped. And the same thing, we reload, so that means we get where the process was, that means the program counter, what are the contents of every register, what all the files that were open, and all those details, what was the process at that time, what was the state of the process, all these details are reloaded from the PCB node, and P node continues to execute. And sometime later, if P1 wants to continue, then P1 will again continue the same way. P0 will stop, saves all the environment into its PCB. Then the PCB1 details are reloaded and process P1 starts its execution. When P1 is being executed, then P0 is in idle state, so P0 is not working. And when P0 is working, then P1 is in idle state, and so on. So either P0 will be working or P1 will be working. In that case, if there are multiple, then one of them will be working and all of them will be in ready state or waiting state, depending on the situation. So that's it for now. If you find this information of any use, please like, share, and do comment, and please subscribe to this channel. Thank you.